For 30 years, Radell's been supporting Aussies by providing health products from naturally derived ingredients to enjoy summer with health confidence. Radell, the brand of choice by Mitchell Stark and Elisa Healy. Radell.com.au.
We were well on alert for what might transpire in Perth in the Railway Stakes, a locals-only affair, but the idea that there was a star and the sort of performance that demands an emergency sitting of the best 5 horses in the country just to figure out where this fellow sits.
Here comes the ominous shadow of Western Empire letting loose on the outside of Comfort Me. Pike's hardly flinched, 150 left to go, and the hot pot storms up, grab the lead. This is all over. It's all over, bar the shouting. The Empire reigns supreme. Western Empire won it by 4.
And there were great elements to that, not the least of which was the call, because it just created something around Western Empire, the ominous figure, the Empire. Andrew Bensley, welcome.
Good morning to you, Jared. Gee, we can get onto a horse quick here, don't we? You're going to put it in the top 5 in the country.
I want you to. I want your guidance here. So, how impressed should we be by what happened?
It was a good win, but it beat locals. Is the only negative I could say. He won decisively. He won like a good horse. But what did he beat? When he comes to the autumn in Melbourne, if that's what Bob Peters has in mind, then we're going to quickly find out. But I will say that Bob just won't send for the sake of it either. He doesn't muck around. He doesn't send horses just for the hell of it. So we'll get a bit of a feel. He knows he's a good horse, but I don't know what we learned from these 2 races in Perth during their summer.
So on the way in, I'd heard people saying, look out, what you're about to see. This could be the All-Star Mile winner. This could be one of the horses of the country in 2022. Can Bob Peters find a good horse? And isn't it brilliant how the WA form, after it felt like a years of lag, has just roared back onto the scene through Arcadia Queen and the army that he's sent across now for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, look, Bob, as we know, is a breeder. He's got some good quality mares there. Grant and Alana Williams have done they built the team. The future between Bob and the training partnership doesn't seem to be there at the moment, long term.
Right.
I think that there could be a time in the short term that we might see a change away. Hayden Ballantyne, the former footballer, has been given 10 horses by Bob right now to train. So maybe we don't see all of them with Grant and Alana in the future, but it'll be interesting just to see how that plays out. The drums have been beating a fair bit on it. Whether I should have said it this morning's another debatable thing, Jared. Might have should have said it on my show. But I will say that there's been, as I say, the drums are beating that there could be a bit of a change.
So tell me what does he do now, Western Empire? So he's got another Group 1 in this summer phase?
Yes, yeah. The Kingston Town Stakes goes under the conditions, weight for age, just wins up against maybe a similar group. Regal Power is in the mix, a horse that we've seen here for Bob and Sandra Peters. So that'll give him a bit of a test, but you would feel under the conditions that he would be winning that. Then you can't get a lot from Bob when you do talk to him. All-Star is certainly in the mix. Whether it's before that for races in Melbourne, we'll wait and see, but he's certainly got every intention of sending the horse over, and that gives you a feel that he's got, he knows that he's got a good horse. But I'm just holding back a little bit until we see him over here.
So I guess the question for me is, where does he sit with I'm Thunderstruck, who's roared onto the scene, wins the Toorak, and then goes and wins the pop-up Golden Eagle, and creates an impression, a fair impression that he has arrived in his own right, and he was sort of in the mix for 5th place.
Yeah.
Is Western Empire in the sphere of I'm Thunderstruck? Will he come and show that he's better than I'm Thunderstruck? These are the most beautiful debates in it all.
Yes. All I'll say to that is that I think that I'm Thunderstruck has got the form that I'd prefer. He's beaten Count de Rupee, who's then come out and won $1 million race on Saturday, and you describe them as the pop-ups, but the gong. And he won it running away by 2 or 3 lengths. It was a good letdown win. So I'm taking I'm Thunderstruck at this stage. If I was naming number 5, and last week or the week before we had about 5 horses at number 5, I'd probably have I'm Thunderstruck 5 ahead of Western Empire, only because we haven't seen him against the Eastern State horses.
But it does add to this great picture of we've got a battery of horses before us for these feature races in the autumn and then hopefully for next spring.
Yeah, look, it is exciting. And as I say, we'll see him again in the Kingston Town and then, we'll wait and see. Bob makes decisions. He had a 3-year-old winner on Saturday, Treasured Star, that won the WA Guineas. And most of us probably thought it would go on to another race. He said, nah, that's it. Yep. We're spelling. And suddenly he's come straight out of all the markets where he was really high up. So he makes decisions on what he feels. So it'll be interesting with Western Empire.
Yeah. I'm deeply tempted to put him at 5. Maybe I'll wait to see him in the Kingston Town. I'm really eager to overreact.
Are you?
Yeah.
Well, you did that.
All the good fun.
You did that once, and look what happened to you. Very elegant. You dropped out of your top 5. And by the way, Chris Waller was on UK TV last night on Racing. I think it's Racing UK or something like that with Nick Luck. And Chris was asked about Very Elegant travelling in 2022, and he said that the owners wanted to go last year, but they want to go this year, and it's the Arc that they want to end up. He said we might have a couple of races before the Arc, but Chris Waller, I've said it a couple of times with you, Jared, but Very Elegant could go. Nature Strip could go, and Home Affairs, I reckon, is even hotter than the other two to go. So Chris could end up with multiple runners during their summer, particularly around Ascot.
Now, that's very exciting. Very exciting.
Our friends at Manscaped have cleared you for takeoff with their Lawnmower 4.0. The orbits in your pants will feel like you're in zero gravity when you use the best tools for the job. Their 4th generation trimmer is packed full of features, and the Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker to chop your worst nose and earweeds. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code SEN at manscaped.com. That's code SEN. Help your little planets be on their A game with Manscaped.
Was Ballarat a success?
I think so. Thankfully, the weather was just totally wrong with the forecast that we had all week with rain. Ended up being sunshine. Just to have crowds back, it's just unbelievable. And the roar there, Zaydani gets up the inside. I said to Luke Nolan this morning on track that he's found the George Moore whistle. He's done it twice on Zaydani, not going around a horse. But well done to Luke Nolan and to Lindsay Park, the boys, Ben and JD. They've had a lot of pressure installed on them with the changing face of Lindsay Park, but they've come out the other side of it at this early stage.
There were a couple of very impressive winners.
Duchess of Dorset was one that was very good. The way that Simon Wilde talks about that horse going forward has now won, I think, 4 of 6. It was a really nice, decisive win there, and he's probably tempted to go into other races with Duchess of Dorset, just the way that it let down. There were obviously the Magic Millions races that we'll see a couple of those 2-year-olds head towards the Magic Millions on the Gold Coast. And Marabi was the other one for Kira Ma and David Eustace. Unbeaten from 4 starts, won by 7 lengths. And I'm not too sure what it beat, but it beat them bloody good. It was super. And they're probably going to go to Boxing Day at Caulfield for the next run, the Christmas Stakes.
I'm excited for Saturday. I've always loved Zipping Classic Day. I grew up near Sandown, so it is a mild source of lament that it's not there because it's one of my favourite haunts. We're off to Caulfield with the crowd. Yeah. My brother-in-law and I are ready. We've got our tickets. We're ready to go. What sort of day will we get 3 weeks after? The Flemington form's been great so far. It's been there at Cranbourne. It was heavily there at Ballarat. Will it be there when we get there on Saturday?
I think the Sandown Guineas, the Kevin Heffernan, I reckon they're going to be good races. The Zipping will have smallish numbers, but Spanish Mission is there. Got a vet test on Thursday, and Peter Moody said all the ticks have been given off for the horse to run, and Glenn Boss is taking the ride. So Spanish Mission will be the one that everyone will link onto, but there'll be other sort of horses that we've seen in maybe lesser grade races that get their chance at 2,400 metres. Talking with Josh Blanksby, the CEO at the Melbourne Racing Club this morning, they're thinking if the weather's just on their side more than 10,000, there's no zones, there's nothing, no masks. They're saying maybe carry one just in case you feel slightly uncomfortable at any point that you feel that you're in a group of people that you want to wear one. But outside that, you'll be able to walk down to the stables and see the horses. The members are there. The owners will be able to go into the mounting yard and talk with the jockeys and trainers, something they haven't been able to do for, 18, 19 months, somewhere around that. So it's just a total day that the Melbourne Racing Club deserve after missing crowds on 2 Caulfield Cup days.
Sunny and 18 by the look of it. Hopefully that forecast keeps getting better. One final note to finish on. This fellow, he was 31. God, what a horse he was. He passed away on the weekend.
Mahogany dashed away at the 400. Hall kicked him out by 2 or 3 lengths now. From Carlomax Magwan. Kendall Star is on the outside. No run, Zaremba. Regal Archery trying for a run, but Mahogany. Hall went for the whip at the 200. 5 in front. It's all over. Regal Archery and Shelved are running on with Waikika Moo Cow, but Mahogany blitzes them in the derby. Magnificent win, Mahogany by 7 lengths on the post.
Oh, I can so vividly recall that.
Yeah, I mean, he was truly a remarkable horse. When the news came out late Saturday night, I thought I don't want to text Lloyd then. So I chased him down yesterday morning and he said, fortunately for us to have a champion like him, he won twice Group 1 races at 2,400 and he won 2 at 1,000 metres, a lightning down the straight at Flemington. I mean, you often talk to trainers about, can you do this with a horse? And Lee Freedman often said it, and Lloyd said it yesterday, is that when you train Mahogany for a certain race, you were able to do it. Yeah. And he said he was a grand horse. So our thoughts are with everybody, where he's been living, and, he was just an outstanding racehorse.
Andrew, thanks for popping by.
Thanks, Jared.
Andrew Bensley, who's got a full brief on a Monday after the weekend's racing and the build-up to the Zipping Classic at Caulfield for the first time on Saturday.
Read stories that go deep beyond the result, that take you behind the lines. Stories that haven't even been told before. Code. Unlock the stories of sport. Codesports.com.au